Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today I would like to explain what I have read in my journal. This journal has titled The Awareness of the Structure and Meaning of Morphologically Complex Word Impact on Reading. A journal by Johnny F. Carlisle, Department of Communication Science and Disorders, Northwestern University, Evanston, Illinois, USA. Okay, in this abstract was many new words middle school children encounter in book. They read are relatively transparent, derived from whose meaning might be figured out through analysis of the word parts. Of impact importance is whether students can only read and recognize the structure of morphologically complex words, but also determine their meanings. This journal explain how to the correlation between morphologically and about the meaning of a sentence and etc. Okay, for the next page is the introduction. While is evidence of a relationship between morphological awareness and reading in the early school years, Carlisle 1995, Carlisle and Norman Hoy 1993, Champion 1997, Flower and Lieberman 1995. We've only begun this kind of investigation needed to understand the nature and extent of the relationship. The primary focus has been on analysis of children's knowledge of morphological relations. For example, awareness of the composition of inflected and derived forms. However, since morphemes are units of meaning, a central issue has been how awareness of word structure is related to understanding of the meaning of morphologically complex words and how these forms of morphological awareness are related to reading comprehension. Okay, uh, this is how related the morphologically in reading comprehension for the kids. For the next is awareness of morphological structure and meaning. In order to gather more direct evidence of the relation of awareness of structure and meanings of morphologically complex words, the person study included tasks of both structural analysis, the composition and derivation of forms and definition. So there are some data to conclude the real result of this journal. A morphological awareness and reading included word reading assessed by the student's ability to read derived forms and reading comprehension. Tyler and Nicky, 1990. That was the researchers. Okay, for the morphological structure and meanings, nature of the definition tags, the student credit for definition includes some instances of what Anglin at 1993 called morphological problem solving, as well as some crystallized knowledge about the meaning of certain complex words. Students received definition credit when, by analyzing of the part, they work out the meaning of words they previously may not have been able to define, such as pendulous. Certainly not all derived words lend themselves to this sort of analysis. Nonetheless, morphological analysis was used by both third and fifth grades to generate possible meanings of some word. The next is morphological awareness and reading, and studied students' interpretation of derived words in sentences context. They found that the high school students made fewer lexical errors on suffixed and not suffixed words, suggesting some effect for morphological processing of words. In keeping with the result of their earlier study in 1989, they found that the students made more synthetic errors and suffixes that than non-suffixed words, suggesting incomplete processing of the affix and its meaning. Mean they are what is that? more complicated with a lexical error and suffix. The method that used in these researchers was the first is the subject. Subject were 34 third grades boys and 16 girls and 26 fifth grades between 10 boys and 16 girls who attended a private day school in a middle to upper middle class urban community in the Midwest. Because of missing data, one fifth grader isn't included in the data analysis, leaving 25 fifth grades during the school year. The school provided special help in reading and languages art for 8 of the third grades and 6 of the fifth grades. These students had vocabulary or comprehension scores below the 30 percentile on the achievement battery administered by the school. The combination landscape program education result better. Meanwhile, percentiles on this test battery for the third grades were vocabulary 76,8 and comprehension 24,9. For the fourth grade vocabulary was 80,8 and comprehension 79. Okay, this is the subject. And the next is the test is uh, WRT, word reading test. The purpose of this test was to assess students' ability to read morphologically complex words. It included 3 groups of words, as shown in the appendix. Then, the test of morphologically structured TMS. Experimental methods was designed to assess the students' awareness of the relation of base and derived forms. One part required the decomposition of derived words in order to finish sentences, henceforth called decomposition, and a second part required the production of a derived word in order to finish a sentence, or in cofold called derivation. The test items are given in the appendix. The base of derived form. Further study is needed to address causal relation, the ability to decompose words into conditional morphemes, evident among the third grades may predict presets, but may also facilitate the ability to work out at the meaning of both base forms and suffixes. It's likely the exposure to the printed word also influences the development of morphological awareness. Skilled readers, because they read more books and more challenging books than they skills reading, might use orthographic transparency to enhance the recognition of the morphological structure of words. The result of the previous study can confirm this inference about reciprocal causal relation, but would support them. And this acknowledgement were equivalent in word frequency on the two tags for decomposition. Okay, the next tag is the test of absolute vocabulary knowledge, or TEVK, Englin, 1993. The TEVK involves a word interface in which the child is asked to give the meaning of a word, to use it in a sentence, and when needed to pick the meaning from a multiple choice set. The words were ranked by Anglin in order of difficulty. Logically complex words in this sample of words from an unabridged dictionary and included inflected forms, for example, report, surer, forever forms, for example, notless, compounds, for example, cow, and etc. And the next is Comprehensive Testing Program, or CTP. Two subjects from the Comprehension Testing Program 3 additional records bureau were used. The vocabulary substance entails reading a word and selecting the best meaning from choices of options. The reading comprehension substance entails reading short passages and selecting the best answer to comprehension question. The appropriate form from the third and fifth grade was administered to each group. or the result is grade level performance on experimental measures. That was in the table of journal that I can show in this page. In the table one, in the data was shows the performance of the third and fifth grades on the experimental measures. The fifth grades performed significantly better than the third grades on the definition tags. Okay, further discussion is the result of the study field in some missing connections in our understanding of the value of morphological awareness of reading. Professor researchers have shown that students at or above the fourth grade are quite skilled at decomposing morphological complex words, particularly when they have a transparent relation to the base forms. And using the base forms, at least the defined derived forms. The relationship were particularly strong for the fifth grade, but it's not worthy that relations were particularly strong. They were significant for the third grade, who are presumable still learning basic strategies for recognizing polysyllabic words in print, while the results appear to help us understand the importance of morphological awareness and processing, they must be interpreted cautiously because of the relatively small groups and because of the scaling effect for the fifth grade. Okay, morphological structure and meaning of the nature of the definition charts. Student with credit for definition includes some in terms of what only 19 at 9. I would like to thank to the I'm sorry, and the writer would like thanks so much to the student, teacher, and administration at the Lake Forest Country Day School for this assistance in this project and Jerry Englin for his generosity in sharing these research materials and his advice. This journal is full of the data because I can't show the data in this PPT. So I guess so, but the result and what was happened in the researchers. Okay, last is references from the author. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.